Like the 10 classic novels you've probably never heard of. You think you know all the great books? Pride and Prejudice, Moby Dick, To Kill a Mockingbird, the same list everyone knows. But what if I told you that list is completely wrong? What if there were insane, award-winning masterpieces that just got buried? Literary history is full of these incredible books, and today we're digging them up. We are exploring 10 classic novels that you've probably never heard of, but you will want to read every single one. First up is a book that won one of the biggest prizes in literature and then basically disappeared. We're talking about Mort d'Urban by J.F. Powers, which crushed the competition to win the National Book Award in 1963. The book is about Father Urban, a super charming priest who is an absolute machine at fundraising and public speaking, but he's so good that his bosses get freaked out and banish him to a falling apart retreat in the middle of nowhere. So why isn't this book everywhere? Even with a massive award, its focus on secret Catholic Church politics and its super dry humor kept it from going mainstream. It's more about quiet struggles than massive explosions. But that's what makes it genius. Powers is considered one of the greatest Catholic writers ever, and Father Urban is a masterclass in character creation. It's a book about ambition, faith, and the insane clash between God and money. Years later, the Washington Post called it our great workplace saga, saying it was way smarter than other famous books. If you love sharp, intelligent satire, you need to know about Mort d'Urban. Next up is a novel that was so far ahead of its time it's insane, The Bitter Tea of General Yen by Grace Zaringstone. It's set in the middle of the Chinese Civil War and follows an American missionary who gets captured by a crazy, powerful, and charismatic Chinese warlord. What happens next is a super tense and complicated story about culture clash, power, and forbidden love. This book literally vanished for two reasons. First, its own movie adaptation, a hugely controversial film from 1933 that was one of the first in Hollywood to show an interracial romance, completely overshadowed it. Second, the book itself was out of print for so long that nobody could even find it. But if you can hunt down a copy, the story feels like it could have been written today. Stone doesn't give you any easy answers. It's a deep dive into the psychology of her characters, questioning everything about morality, captivity, and love. It's a challenging, atmospheric book that was decades ahead of its time. Our third book throws us into a depressing English boarding house in the middle of World War II. Patrick Hamilton's The Slaves of Solitude is a psychological masterpiece that perfectly nails the suffocating feeling of wartime Britain. The story is about Miss Roach, a woman who escapes the London Blitz just to find herself trapped with petty, miserable people in a small-town hotel. Patrick Hamilton is a writer who is always on the edge of being forgotten. His work is dark, cynical, and all about the grimy, unglamorous side of England. We're talking sticky pubs, horrible boarding houses, and extremely lonely people. But that's his secret weapon. Hamilton is a master observer of people, and The Slaves of Solitude is a brutally funny and painful look at loneliness. The book's villain, Mr. Thwaites, is an old bully who torments Miss Roach with passive-aggressive comments, and he is one of the most memorable monsters in all of English literature. This book shows the psychological damage of war, not on the battlefield, but in the small, soul-crushing moments of everyday life. It's bleak, but it's absolutely brilliant. For our fourth book, we're jumping into a mystery, but one with a massive psychological twist. Miss Pym Disposes by Josephine Tay is set in an all-girls physical training college, a super competitive world of ambitious women. The main character, Miss Pym, is a psychologist who just wrote a best-selling book. She's visiting the college when a student is found dead in the gym. Everyone thinks it's an accident, but Miss Pym knows something is seriously wrong. Mystery fans might know Josephine Tay, but only for her famous novel, The Daughter of Time. That one book was so huge, it completely buried her other amazing work, like this one. Miss Pym Disposes isn't a whodunit, it's a whydunit, a deep look at the jealousy and pressure that can build up in a high-stakes world. This book is a must-read for its incredible characters and its dive into moral gray areas. The mystery isn't just about finding a killer, it's about what you do once you know the truth. Tay builds this insane world of female friendships and rivalries, where the line between right and wrong gets dangerously blurry. Imagine the dark, twisted coming-of-age stories of Shirley Jackson, but set in the wild, untamed American West. That's the vibe of our fifth hidden gem, The Mountain Lion by Gene Stafford. The book follows a brother and sister, Ralph and Molly, who are united against a world of phony adults. They're awkward, super smart kids who escape their boring California home for their uncle's ranch in Colorado, a place that is both magical and terrifyingly dangerous. Jean Stafford is one of the most underrated writers of the 20th century. She won a Pulitzer Prize for her stories, but her novels are almost completely forgotten, mostly because of her crazy personal life. And that is a huge shame because The Mountain Lion is an absolute masterpiece. Stafford's writing is razor sharp, capturing the chaotic inner world of kids about to become teenagers. The novel is a haunting and brutal look at losing your innocence, sibling rivalry, and the confusing, violent transition into adulthood. It's been called one of the best novels about adolescence in American literature, a psychological time bomb that is witty, smart, and will hit you right in the gut. All right, we are halfway through our list of forgotten masterpieces. If you're enjoying this treasure hunt and adding these books to your reading list, do me a favor and slam that subscribe button. It helps the channel a ton and guarantees you won't miss our next literary deep dive. Okay, back to the books. Get ready to enter a dream. Our sixth book, The Street of Crocodiles by Bruno Schulz, is not a normal novel. It's a collection of stories that are surreal, mythic, and beautifully bizarre. Set in a small Polish Jewish town, the stories are a fantasy version of the author's own childhood, where fathers turn into cockroaches and tailors' dummies come to life. Bruno Schulz is a legend in Europe, but he's tragically unknown to most English-speaking readers. He wrote very little, and he was killed during the Holocaust, so his work never got the massive audience it deserved. What's left is this incredibly powerful piece of his genius. Reading The Street of Crocodiles is like being inside a dream you can barely remember. The writing is poetic and hallucinatory, creating a completely unique atmosphere. It doesn't follow any of the normal rules of storytelling. It runs on dream logic, finding deep meaning in the most surreal and ordinary things. If you love experimental fiction and beautiful language, this is an unforgettable classic. Our seventh pick is an epic masterpiece that everyone in Europe knows, but is way less famous over here, Joseph Roth's The Radetzky March. This giant family saga follows the slow collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire through 3 generations of one family, the Trottis. Their story starts when a soldier saves the life of the emperor in a battle. That one heroic moment makes his family famous and ties their fate directly to the dying empire. Even though it's considered Roth's greatest work and a classic of German literature, the Radetzky March never found the huge English-speaking audience it deserves. Maybe because it focuses on a specific vanished empire, or maybe its sad tone is just a tough sell. But that's exactly what makes it so incredible. Roth uses the Trotta family to represent the decay of an entire world. We watch as the family's sense of honor and identity crumbles right alongside the empire they serve. It's a smart, compassionate, and heartbreaking novel about the end of an era. It's one of the most amazing novels of the 20th century. Jumping forward in time, our eighth pick is a modern novel with the heart of a classic, one that gives a voice to people who never got one. The Wet Nurse's Tale by Erica Eisdorfer is set in Victorian England and tells the story of Susan Rose, a sharp, clever working-class woman who breastfeeds the babies of rich people. When her own baby is sold by her father, she schemes her way into the new family's house, only to find it's full of dark secrets. This novel is amazing because it completely ignores the fancy rich people you usually see in Victorian stories. Instead, it focuses on the servants, giving a perspective that is raw, honest, and almost never seen. Despite this unique angle, it still hasn't gotten the fame it deserves. You have to read this book for its unforgettable main character. Susan Rose is not a damsel in distress. She's described as plump, promiscuous, and scheming, but she's also incredibly smart, funny, and tough. The novel is a fascinating, hilarious, and sometimes terrifying look at motherhood and survival in a world that gave women like her almost no choices. Our second to last book is a literary dystopian novel with a haunting vision of a fallen America. In Jim Crace's The Pest House, America has become a lawless, empty wasteland. All technology is gone, the government is gone, and people are traveling east, reversing the migration of the past, hoping to find a boat to a safer world. The story follows 2 people on this journey, a guy left for dead and a young woman quarantined in a pest house. The Pest House had the absolute worst luck of being released around the same time as Cormac McCarthy's The Road, and it has been stuck in that book's shadow ever since. While both are post-apocalyptic road trips, Crace's version is less about pure horror and more of a quiet, haunting look at community and love in a broken world. This is a novel for people who love beautiful writing and insane world building. Crace basically invents a new world with new language and customs that feel both alien and terrifyingly real. It's not a story about the disaster, it's about the world that comes after, a world of scavenged history and fragile hope. It's a powerful and thought-provoking spin on the usual dystopian story. We're ending our list with a book that is pure charm. It's witty, has a cult following, but has never become a household name. I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith is the story of the Mortmains, an eccentric, broke family living in a crumbling English castle in the 1930s. The whole story is told through the diary of 17-year-old Cassandra, a hopeful and sharp aspiring writer documenting her family's bizarre life. Of course, Dodie Smith is most famous for writing The 101 Dalmatians, and that book's success completely buried her incredible work for adults. I Capture the Castle is one of those books that people fall completely in love with, but it's still a kind of secret handshake among book lovers. You should read this book because it is an absolute delight. Cassandra's voice is one of the most engaging you will ever read. She's funny, deep, and unbelievably wise. The novel perfectly captures the confusing, thrilling, and heartbreaking experience of first love and trying to figure out who you are. It's a warm, funny, and deeply romantic book that feels like a fairy tale grounded in real messy life. It's the perfect hidden gem to finish our list. And that's the list. 10 critically acclaimed, award-winning, and absolutely brilliant novels that got totally lost and forgotten. From a Minnesota seminary to a decaying English castle, these books prove that the world of classics is way bigger and crazier than you think. There are countless treasures out there just waiting for us to find them. Now, I want to hear from you. What are your favorite underrated classics? Are there any hidden gems that you think everyone needs to know about? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, please give the video a like and subscribe for more insane explorations into the world of literature. Thanks for watching and happy reading.